Listen, if I get sued, I get sued. I'm a lawyer. It's expected when you say something bold, as I'm going to say. Are there unfair practices being employed in the sport of bodybuilding today between federations? Is that a thing? Is Federation A tortiously interfering in Federation B's ability to get competitors, get sponsors, secure venues, grow, make a living? It's an interesting question. You know, a lot of people would say, well, good luck proving it. I mean, hypothetically, what if the tortious interference was clearly and conspicuously articulated for you right before your very eyes? People with power telling people without the power, the competitors, where to compete, what outlets to give interviews to. I mean, if it's right there in black and white, I'm not talking about the privacy of a text message between person with cell phone A and person with cell phone B. I'm talking about what if it was in black and white before your very eyes, public, not even in a private group, not even in a listserv, public, for anyone to see, anyone to screenshot, anyone to sound off and do a video. I mean, what if it was that apparent? I mean, that's the question, you know? I think that we're in a place in bodybuilding where people do stuff like that out in the open. That's as reckless as it gets. But you can only be that reckless if you truly believe you can get away with anything. I mean, then, you know, all bets are off. I mean, it becomes, you know, really like a perpetual flexing of your power, basically. Compete here, don't compete there. Talk to this media outlet, don't talk to that one. Am I paying you? Nothing. Giving you a hotel room? No. Giving you per diem? No. Giving you good prize money? No. Federation holds all the cards, and the competitors hold none. But not only that, competitors can't compete wherever they want. It's all about power and control. And like I said, if it was one thing, if it was private, you know, it's still wrong, but it would be private, you know. Influential person calls influence less person. Again, I'm not trying to knock you guys as competitors, because listen, I'm a firm believer, if there's no competitors, there's no sport. But you have no power. You have no influence. You do what you're told. Maybe it's because you want to go pro. Maybe it's because you want to win, even a local show. Maybe you're part of a team and you've got those social bonds and you play the game to play the game. Maybe you just don't want to rock the boat. I don't know. But at the end of the day, competitors are being told where to compete and they're being told where to do interviews, and they're doing it. So I'm sorry, but that makes you powerless and it makes them powerful. And I have to be honest with you, it would be one thing if it was private, like I said, phone call, text message, letter. But for the powerful to dictate in black and white on public forums that anyone can see, anyone can screenshot, anyone can run to the hills, to the mountaintops and do what I'm doing, and they don't care, between the powerful and the powerless, that's crazy. That's crazy. And it's crazy when I look at promoters like Richard Siegelman in the DMV, Brent Jones in Kentucky, and I see how difficult it is for them to get competitors to shows that they ran last year and many years before, and they never had an issue getting competitors. And now that they've gone from Pro League to Physique America, now they are hard pressed to get even a tenth of the competitors they had the year prior. If that isn't unfair competition, unfair business practices, tortious interference, I don't know what is. How can you account for a 90+% drop? Hypothetically, again, I don't know their competitor numbers, but hypothetically, I'm going to go out on a limb and say they're probably getting less than 90% of the competitors they had last year at their shows for this year. How can you account for that? But for tortious interference, but for the powerful telling the powerless on public forums, you cannot compete there. You will not compete there. Just like they say you won't do press at StrengthAddicts, for example, or evolutionofbodybuilding.net, or wherever. Muscle Sport Mag, any top, and I'm including StrengthAddicts in there because I am a top media outlet. You can't do the interview. You're being told by people that aren't paying you and who you are paying to compete and to participate. They are telling you you cannot speak to StrengthAddicts until we tell you that you can. That's crazy. But hey, media aside, it's crazy to suggest, and even crazier to be able to assert, as I am doing, that you can't compete in another federation. Like I said, interview, I'm media all the way. I believe in the power of the media. I by no means am cool with the disservice done to the media by the powerful when they deem that our outlets aren't good for their powerless. Sorry again, competitors. I'm just stating the facts. I know the truth hurts, but I'm sorry. That's bad enough. I've got a dog in that race. I am media. I've been doing this. I'm a one-man act. I've had a couple people off and on over the years, but primarily I'm a one-man act. And I don't like being ignored. I don't like my press credentials screwed with. I don't like my sponsors being, terrorized by the powerful, hypothetically speaking. But it's still, in my opinion, a bigger deal for the powerful to tell the powerless that they can't compete in another federation. Hey, look, one interview, from a media standpoint, is pretty important. But from a competitor standpoint, let's be honest. Interviews, they're everywhere. You're always going to do, if you put yourself out there, if you're a top tier national level NPC competitor or a top level IFBB Pro League competitor, I'm talking here in the United States, worldwide, you'd also throw in, of course, the IFBB Elite Pro and NABA, WABA, and many other organizations, because around the world, everybody gets to compete and everybody gets to eat. But here, we base everything on NPC IFBB Pro League because those are the only federations that exist on that level. Again, is that unfair business practices? But if you are a top level NPC type, or you're a top level pro, or even a pro just in general, and you put yourself out there and say, like, I will do interviews, it's a disservice to the outlet that you're being told that you can't speak to. But, you're going to have like 5-10 other offers within a few days if you put yourself out there. But with a federation, I think it's different. It's different to deny a competitor the ability to compete in a different federation than it is to tell them, don't do an interview at such website. You know what I mean? To me, it's like completely different ball game. If a person can compete in more than one federation, it stands to reason that they can get prize money, in multiple organizations. It stands to reason they might be able to get more sponsorships. Maybe the sponsors that support you for this show or this federation, that demographic, aren't necessarily the same people that would support you over here in this federation with this demographic. You know what I mean? So it's like, by telling a competitor, but again, even though the federation one's way bigger, in my opinion, than the media one, like, where you can compete as opposed to who you can talk to, both ends of the spectrum, in my opinion, compromise the competitor. Because in both situations, they're being deprived of the ability to make a better living based on nothing more than one group's powerful and one group's not. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, we in the media are very much aware and even promote the idea that competitors are not worth necessarily like what they win on stage, like what placings you get if you're a pro or not, but more, and it should be that, okay? It probably should be that if we're talking in a real purest sense. What you do on stage should account. Like if you're like the best of the best on stage and you never complain, you never get off your diet and whatever, and you're just posing, you're just living it, you should have the most people following on social media and you should be the biggest star. And it should go like that, but it doesn't, okay? So again, a lot of us in the media promote this idea, and the supplement companies do as well. It's not what you do on stage necessarily. It's how you have the rapport with the people. It's how you have an audience. It's how you have interaction, engagement, retention on your social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of them. And you got to be able to show it there and there and there and there. You can, like if you've got like a big YouTube, but you have a dead Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, you're like, okay, so maybe this guy's just good on this one platform. The really, really established influencers are big on them all. Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, they're everywhere. And everywhere they go, they do well. And those are the people who, in my opinion, are being shortchanged by the powerful that say, hey, you can't compete at that show. You can't get on a Siegelman stage. You can't get on a Jones stage. You can't get on a D'Amelio stage. You can only get on my stage. And I'm not going to compensate you for whatever you would lose by not being able to get on those stages, not being able to find sponsors in those demographics with that particular audience, which may be different than this audience. I'm just going to tell you, you can't do it. And you're not going to say anything except for, yes, sir. That is an example of the powerful and the powerless. And again, I know that it may seem like I'm picking on the competitors by saying that they don't have any power. That's not picking on, A. And B, I'm only using it to illustrate the very messed up situation that the sport of bodybuilding finds itself in right now, June 2023, when you have established promoters that had shows with hundreds of competitors, that had mainstream media attention, that had mainstream sponsors, not just protein powder and lifting straps, but the kinds of sponsors that you could see at a football game, at a basketball game, at a golf tournament, mainstream sponsors. And that is really big in the sport of bodybuilding. Those same promoters who were on the top of their game just 1 year ago, some not even a year ago, now are having trouble getting 5 to 10% the number of athletes this year that they might have had at their show 8 months ago. How do you explain that? If not for the fact that the powerful, one last time for those of you way back during the cheap seats, the powerful tell the powerless what to do. 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year, 365 in the quarter for the light year, you do as you're told. That's not fair competing. And I stand to believe tortious interference is at play. There's just no other way to explain it to me. I invite you to leave a comment down below wherever you may see this video and disagree with me. In fact, I believe most of you probably will disagree with me. Maybe not so much by leaving a comment down below because maybe that's giving me too much attention. But maybe what you'll do is you'll repost this video or an excerpt of this video without my permission, of course. And then you will generate a bunch of comments about, oh, Christian Duke, that guy used to be with the NPC, and now he's a renegade. Now he's like the devil, and now he says whatever he wants to say, and a lot of times it's controversial. He's wrong. He's ill-informed. He's been out of it for 2 years. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just mad he's bald. Whatever, you know what I mean? I am not so curious or so excited about those of you that will disagree, but rather with those that will agree. On whatever level, whether down here or up here or in the middle or somewhere else, I would be very curious to see who's got the stones to agree with anything that I say in the realm of this topic on any social, not all social media platforms, on any social media platform. I don't even care like an obscure one like LinkedIn or Twitter. Sorry, Elon, but Twitter's still very obscure for bodybuilding purposes. I would be, anytime I see a thumbs up, and especially anytime I see a comment, it's like, that's like big deal to me. Because, you know, when I was in, you know, that little 412 thing for like a year, 2 years, whatever it was, I had a lot of people puckering up. A lot of people puckering up, figuratively speaking. And now, you know, to find one person to agree with me publicly or even give a thumbs up, there was an expediter. I'm not supposed to talk about this, but there was an expediter that, well, I'm not going to say if it's a couple or if it's a person. I'm not going to say from where. But there's an expediter that was supposed to get taken off the roster for liking one of my posts. I won't tell you who gave the order, but he's got a last name that the three most powerful people in the sport have. And I will say that the expediter was from out east, from Kentucky. And they, I don't know what happened. I still see them expediting, so I'm guessing that somebody put in a word or something. But I also put out some videos and I also put out an article in the hopes of protecting them. And maybe they don't want to get, you know, blasted. But, you know, what's crazy is that even I told that particular expediter what nearly happened to her or them, she probably wouldn't believe me. Nor would he if there was a he or if there's a she. Who knows? I'm just saying if it was a person or if it was a couple, they would not believe me. And they probably came that close to being pulled off the roster with no explanation, and then everybody would have ignored them. But it didn't happen, so I'm glad it didn't happen. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed the horizontal version. There was a vertical version of No Puppets Allowed on Instagram, and they'll probably go to like TikTok and all the vertical ones. But for Facebook and YouTube, for basically like the refined people, the scholarly people, I figured, let me do it in landscape. Let me talk a little longer, because after all, I'm talking to like-minded individuals, intelligent, sophisticated, articulate, and come on, and sexy.